Tonight, Storm Amy blows into Scotland. An amber weather warning is out covering the west of the country. High winds and rain are set to batter the north.
The Highlands Islands and the north is preparing for travel disruption, with flights, ferries and trains cancelled, and people being urged not to travel unless absolutely necessary.
Also tonight, more than 40 operations are postponed at Aberdeen Royal Infirmary after an unknown substance is found on instruments. The health board say they are focusing on emergency operations. And we speak to the aspiring footballer who's found a new lease of life as a skier after losing both his legs in a car crash. I'm Andrea Breimer. This is the STV News at 6, live from Aberdeen. Good evening. Stay at home unless your journey is absolutely necessary. That's the message tonight as Storm Amy begins to hit many parts of Scotland. Winds of up to 100 miles per hour are predicted, potentially posing a danger to life, as the first named storm of the season is expected to bring disruption across the country today and into tomorrow. There are 3 Met Office weather warnings in place. Well, Nicola and Sean, they've drawn the short straw. They're out in the elements for us tonight. It looks like Sean's drawn the shorter of the 2 straws. We'll hear from both of them in just a minute, but first here is how the country is preparing.
Weather warnings for motorists in the calm before the storm. Storm Amy is the 3rd named storm this year. In January, Scotland saw disruption with Storm Ewan, and in August, Storm Floris caused damage up and down the country. An amber weather warning for damaging strong winds came into force at 5 o'clock today, lasting until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Police Scotland are urging people to take precautions.
Really consider if your journey is required or can it be delayed. If it is going to be required, if it is needed, make sure you're preparing yourself and the vehicle for that journey.
2 yellow warnings for heavy rain and wind are also in place across the country. In Murray, the Outer Hebrides, the Highlands, Orkney Islands, Argyll and Bute. The Met Office has warned of potential power cuts, damage to buildings and homes, including roofs being blown off and power lines being brought down. Closures of roads, bridges and railway lines, with delays and cancellations to bus, train, ferry services and flights.
The disruption we expect is going to be significant. From 6 p.m. today, we will impose speed restrictions and will also be looking to safely shut down those lines of route where the impact is going to be most significant. So that'll be West Highland Line, Highland Main Line, Kyle and Wick, and there is potential for Aberdeen to Inverness to shut down as well.
So it's going to be fallen trees, possibly kind of flooding, all that sort of stuff, but the fallen trees will come into effect not just during the amber but also the aftermath as well. So there's going to be a phased return for normality, so don't expect as soon as the amber's off you can start getting in your car and driving about. That's not going to happen. We'll have resources out in the network clearing as we go, but that does take time.
Transport and emergency services say they're planning as best they can for disruption, but they're urging people to take precautions themselves and heed advice as Storm Amy draws closer. Nicola McCally.
Well, Nicola, the weather warning came into force there at 5 o'clock tonight. It's looking OK so far. How are things in Inverness?
Well, it's quite surreal, really, because there's just the most gentle of breezes here by the shore in Inverness. And a moment ago, I was actually being dazzled by bright sunlight. But we are told that Storm Amy is very much on the way. We're seeing disruption to travel already. Aberdeen Airport just cancelled some flights a short time ago. And people really are being urged to be prepared. It might not look like much at the moment, but the wild weather is certainly on its way. So the message to people is to listen to official advice and to stay safe.
And Sean, it's a very different picture where you are, and that we're not even seeing the peak of the storm there yet, are we?
No, it has not arrived yet, and that's why some people are saying, where is this storm? My real concern, though, is for the likes of the Small Isles, parts of Skye, around the likes of Applecross, towards Alt Bay, Lochinver, South Uist and Barra, because here over the next couple of hours, we are going to see some of the worst winds. Quite a lot of agreement across our weather models for gusts of wind around 100, and I'm saying around 100 because there is a possibility some areas could get a little bit more than that. Some severe, dangerous gusts of wind parts of the Hebrides, and then we see those stronger winds moving towards the north and the northeast before slowly easing down tomorrow. But of course, Philip will have a full forecast for you later in the programme.
Sean, Nicola, many thanks to you both. More than 40 operations have been postponed at Aberdeen Royal Infirmary after an unknown substance was found on instruments. The Health Board has apologised to anyone affected. Well, Gráinne joins us now from the newsroom. Gráinne, do we know exactly what's caused this?
Well, there appears to be an issue with ARI's central decontamination unit, which means the unit is now closed. This has meant that the hospital doesn't have enough sterile instruments for all theatre procedures. NHS Grampian say they're now focusing on emergency operations as well as C-sections and cancer care, but that some operations have been impacted. We understand that more than 40 operations have been postponed as a result. Now, the Health Board say an unknown substance was found on instruments. At this time, it's not known what this is or what caused it, but that until all equipment is cleaned, the facility at Forster Hill is out of use.
And what are NHS Grampian saying about this?
Well, NHS Grampian has apologised to anyone affected by this. They say they understand waits for most operations are longer than they would like, and indeed realise the real impact on the quality of life to many of the people waiting for procedures. The Health Board say any procedures postponed will be rescheduled at the earliest possible opportunity. Tonight, the Wood End facility continues to operate, and the hospital is in contact with other health boards for potential support.
Thanks for that, Gráinne. Residents of homes in Aberdeen which contain the potentially dangerous concrete rack say their futures are still uncertain despite possible funding from the Scottish Government. Yesterday, the Housing Secretary said a funding deal worth around £10 million had been agreed. But there are still questions over how that money will be used. Stephen Brown has more.
This is a community that for years now has lived with uncertainty. 500 homes in the Ballinagask area of Aberdeen all contain the possibly dangerous concrete known as rack. Now the Scottish Government have invited Aberdeen City Council to bid for a fund worth around £10 million, they say, to help residents. But for those living here like Ian Lip, despite this latest news, there's still questions about what it really means.
It's more positive than we've had in 2 years, but it's still as clear as dubs. It's like banging your head off a brick wall every day. At the point now, the council they shouldn't hate to be invited to apply for funding. They should be pestering them and knocking every door, emailing all the time for funding.
Around 360 of the homes are owned by the council. The rest are private homeowners. Some have moved, but others have stayed put, unhappy with the valuation and offer from the council. John Meiklejohn is another resident. He says he has no faith in the council to use the money to help homeowners.
For me, we've got no guarantees on what's going to happen to this fund. No, for me, real commitment from the council to use this to effectively eradicate the shortfall, to ensure as homeowners that we are not a penny out of pocket. Nothing in place to do that. So our future is still very uncertain.
The City Council had wanted £20 million from the Scottish Government. It's unclear, though, what this possible £10 million will actually be used for, although it appears it will be to help fund the creation of new affordable housing.
The money has been brought through the Affordable Housing Supply Programme. That gives us money to build affordable housing in the city. However, does that then give us headroom to explore other options? That's what we're working through.
Work to demolish these homes is expected to start this year before new homes are built, meaning the future for those who remain is as uncertain as ever. Stephen Brown, STV News.
A man's in hospital with serious injuries after a crash whilst riding a dirt bike in a residential street in Fife. It happened on Patterson Park in the village of Leslie around 2:30 yesterday. A 39-year-old man has been taken to Ninewells Hospital. Police say their inquiries are ongoing. Residents at a park home in Perthshire fear they could be hit with energy bills of thousands of pounds in a long-running dispute with their owner. Those living at Burbank Park near Blairgowrie haven't received invoices for their gas and electricity for 2 years. They say they've been ignored. The operator, Woodside Property, didn't respond to our requests for comment. Callum Clark has more.
So this is the last invoice that I've received from Woodside Property.
Caroline Beckett is one of 52 residents at Burnbank Park near Blairgowrie. A small site advertised as the perfect place for people looking to retire in a safe and secure environment. But residents here fear they could be in thousands of pounds of debt after they stopped receiving bills for their gas and electricity after raising concerns with the park owner about how much they were being charged.
Despite numerous emails to our park owner, he very often chooses to ignore them. We've tried Ofgem, we've tried all the usual trading standards, everywhere. Nowhere can help us.
Park homes are mobile units, built in a factory, then assembled at a park home site and very rarely move. They can cost hundreds of thousands of pounds. They cannot be mortgaged, with many people putting their entire life savings into buying one. Today, owners from across Scotland gathered in Perth in a bid to raise awareness of park home issues.
If a park has an issue with utilities and they go to the company who's actually supplying the utilities, that company says, speak to the park owner. If they go to Ofgem say, speak to the park owner. If you can't speak to the park owner or the park owner won't speak to you, there's nowhere to try and resolve it.
Burnbank Park is run by a Fife-based company called Woodside Property.
This is the Vodafone voicemail service.
Well, I've been trying to get a hold of the company's director, Lewis Faulkner, over the last few days. I've tried emailing him various times and also tried ringing him various times as well, in a bid to get a response to residents' concerns, but I've not had a reply.
As an association, we've advised people to make sure they're putting money aside in order to pay these bills, but who knows how big that's going to be. And again, it's a worry for them.
At the Scottish Parliament this week, changes were made to Scotland's housing bill, meaning park home residents will soon be able to access a legal system for housing issues called the First Tier Tribunal. New powers to provide park home residents with greater support are coming, but in the short term, residents like Caroline continue to face a battle for answers. Callum Clark, STV News.
Now, the next chapter in Blairgowrie's Bookmark Festival takes place this weekend. The annual event will see 18 writers take part in 10 events at the town's community campus. There is a strong focus on Scottish writing talent, with sports commentator Andrew Cotter among the authors being interviewed.
People keep coming year after year because they like the variety of the events that we run, from novelists to journalists to historians and so much more. If you're interested in reading and opening up your mind to new ideas, then book festivals are for you.
Now, there's an urgent warning against patients purchasing a weight loss injection currently in clinical trials. Once licensed, retatrutide could become the most effective slimming drug on the market, but it's not been approved for human use anywhere in the world. Despite this, the substance is being sold online and promoted by influencers on social media. Amy Flett spoke to one woman who was illegally sold a weight loss jab and is urging others not to risk turning to the black market following rising costs.
I was the smiley, bubbly, fat girl that, Ashley's a good laugh, but it was all a facade. Inside, I was dying.
Ashley weighed around 23.5 stone when she bought what she thought was semaglutide, the active ingredient found in the weight loss drug Wegovy.
It was basically a page on Instagram that had come up. It came in a brown envelope, and I think it was like next day delivery. Realistically, it could have been anything. It could have been icing sugar, it could have been talcum powder, any kind of white powder. It could have been paracetamol crushed up. You just don't know. You're not thinking logically because you're in that desperate state of mind.
Thankfully, Ashley had no adverse side effects from taking the substance and eventually stopped using it after finding it had no impact on her weight. She's now been on Mounjaro for almost a year and has lost 7.5 stone. But recently, she was contacted by a company on TikTok claiming to sell a potential new weight loss drug called retatrutide, asking her to use and promote it in exchange for £30 per pen sold. Despite the drug not being approved for human use yet, she was assured by sellers it was genuine and that she'd be safe regardless.
Unlike when I first used semaglutide bought through a dodgy channel, they do look really professional. They do look quite similar to your Wegovy, your Mounjaro. They come in a pen, they come boxed. The websites look professional. It's scary.
Ashley turned down the offer, but the drug has become widespread online. We found a website claiming to sell this drug for anywhere between £150 and £340. Now, when I click on the cheapest option, a 20 milligram dose, the description says it's a pre-filled research device that's been produced for laboratory research only and not for human or veterinary consumption. Now, that's a huge contradiction to the videos I've seen on social media promoting this product for weight loss. And if I were to go ahead and place an order, I'm told it'll arrive in just 1 to 2 days. Sahar owns this online pharmacy in Glasgow. Since the price of Mounjaro increased last month, she says she's seen a huge influx of people asking about retatrutide.
It's been one of the common questions I get asked about recently over the last few weeks on, retatrutide. What are your thoughts? Do you have it? Once approved, it will be a prescription-only medication. So, what are they actually getting? Where is it coming from? Obviously, you have a huge risk that some patients could maybe take an overdose, maybe take less or more than what is actually intended. It's a huge worry.
Luke is a criminology lecturer who studies weight loss drugs on the black market. His research suggests sellers are sourcing the drug in bulk from China.
You could get vials of Reta for as cheap as £1.50 a vial if you're buying 10,000 of them. So it's very cheap for people to buy, import it, and then of course that means it can get sold on at the market level much cheaper. Because it's not yet gone through all the clinical trials, they sell it as this is a research chemical. So they kind of have that excuse of, well, it's not a scheduled drug and it's not a prescription-only medicine. We're selling it for research purposes.
The clinical trials have not been completed, so we can't say that it's safe for the general population. Doesn't mean it's safe for everyone anyway, but we can't say that on the whole it's been approved and, with whatever mitigations are put in place, it is safe to use. And if you buy it from a website that's not an official pharmacy, you may not be getting that drug at all.
Ashley is now using her experience to deter others from making the same mistake she did.
I know it's tempting, I know it's a horrible position to be in, but don't do it because it's not worth it. We're trying to be healthy and that's why we're taking the medication. We're trying to extend our lives, not cut it short because we're trying to save a few quid.
Amy Flett, STV News.
And that report by Amy takes us to the Sport Now. Stephanie's here tonight.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
A very good evening to you. Jimmy Tilleen is challenging his players to show fight for the club in every game. The Aberdeen boss has praised the Dons' passion in their 3-2 defeat to Shakhtar Donetsk in the Europa Conference League at Pittodrie last night.
Connect with the fans when we show some desire, passion, personality on the pitch, and we're fighting for Aberdeen Football Club. This connection with the fans is really, really strong, and we have to build on this now and learn from this that We have always to go out on the pitch to show that we are fighting so hard for them, so they can feel it and see it. And that's what they did today. That's what was a good atmosphere. And the connection with the players and the fans was really strong in the end, and we pushed to the last minute. And we have to have this mentality every game, strong character and mentality we have as a team, because now we have an important game on Sunday. And we need to show the same desire and passion for the fans and connect with them, so use this energy and can be strong every week. So, of course, we're disappointed we lose the game, but also proud of the players, how they pushed to the last, and the subs who come in and how they push for the last minute and try to get an equaliser.
On the back of a narrow defeat to St Mirren last weekend, the Dark Blues are out to take advantage in a pressure pot. Pittodrie.
I think it's very much how the game goes in the initial period. You know, it's like anything, if we start aggressively, if we score the first goal, then of course playing for Aberdeen's a high pressured position. So with that high pressure comes the demands of the supporters. So that's something that we have to try and use to our advantage. But I think it's a great stage for us.
Jim Goodwin is calling on his Dundee United side to find consistency after 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 defeats. United could climb as high as third in the table with a win at home to Livingston tomorrow. With more, here's Finlay Jack.
It's fair to say Dundee United have caught the eye at points this season. But in and amongst some impressive performances, results like Saturday's loss at home to Kilmarnock have stopped them from kicking on.
We're lacking a little bit of consistency, and I think that's the thing that we're all looking for, where we can, go on a really strong run of positive results. Prior to the Kilmarnock game, I think we'd been unbeaten in 3 games, and obviously disappointed for that run to come to an end last Saturday. But this Saturday it's an opportunity to go and start a new unbeaten run, and 3 points is what we're after at the weekend. But at the same time, we know it's not going to be straightforward.
On paper, this weekend's matchup promises goals galore. 21 goals in 6 United games this season is second only to tomorrow's visitors, Livingston. Vichko Savelj has been key in keeping them out at one end, but says he wants to have more of an impact at the other.
Attackers are always the biggest stars. They score goals. Midfielders, defenders, goalkeepers are not so famous, But yeah, of course, everyone wants to score goals, assists, everything. That's really like a thing that I want to improve this season. So hopefully I will.
Christian Trapanovsky is back in training for the Arabs, but skipper Ross Graham is still a month away from a return. Elsewhere tomorrow, Kilmarnock hosts St Mirren, and there's the small matter of an Edinburgh derby. And off the back of European disappointment, Celtic are at home to Motherwell, while Rangers travel to Falkirk. Finlay Jack, STV Sport.
St Johnstone boss Simo Valakari is urging his players to embrace the pressure of being the team to catch. Saints head into tomorrow's visit of Ayr United 6 points clear at the top of the championship, while elsewhere Ross County host Raith Rovers.
It's even more pressure now on us. But this is the pressure what every player should embrace. Every manager, every coaching staff, every club, that the other teams, they want to kick you out. They want to put you down. They want to, come and play. When they come and play you, they raise their game. That's the pressure you want to have it in a football. And exactly, if we have that pressure, I'm more than happy to have it.
We know we're coming up against a side that has, ambitions to be successful this year. And yeah, we're ready for anything as well. I think the preparation's been good. But watching them, we're going to be in for a battle. So I think it will be a good game on Saturday.
And that's all your Friday night sport from me.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Well, as promised earlier, here's Philip with the full weather forecast as we head into a stormy weekend.
Wet by the coast, with a high chance of sun and splashing. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Well, as we head through the rest of this evening and overnight, our primary concern is the strength of the winds. Now, at the moment, the centre of Storm Amy is just to the northwest of the Western Isles, tracking northeastward. So it's always on the southern flank of the centre of the low pressure that we're seeing the strongest gusts. So overnight, widely, we could be seeing around 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. That's gale force across the country. As well as that, we're continuing to see these heavy showers feeding in from the west. So a very wet, very windy night to come for many of us. With all the wind, the rain and the cloud, it does mean it will be a mild night, lows tonight of around 9 or 10 degrees Celsius quite widely. So looking ahead to tomorrow, by the time many of us are waking up, we will be waking up to storm force winds once again. The strong winds continue throughout the course of the afternoon. We still have a rain weather warning and a wind weather warning lasting until midnight tomorrow night. Frequent showers merging into longer spells of rain continuing to feed in from the north and the northwest. The winds gradually easing as we head towards tomorrow evening time. The winds are now coming in from the northwest, however, so we're dragging in slightly cooler air. So temperatures highs of 12 or 13, but feeling more like 8 or 9 out and about tomorrow. Looking ahead to Sunday now, it will be another widely windy day to come, but nothing on the scale of tomorrow. Some sunny spells here in the east throughout the course of the afternoon. Then we see another band of rain moving in from the west, and that rain will turn heavy throughout the course of the afternoon. I'll be back with your forecasts over the weekend, so stay tuned. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Finally tonight, an Aberdeenshire teenager who lost both his legs after a car accident has now set his eyes on the Winter Paralympics after taking up cross-country skiing. Only a year on from the crash, Adam Govaleski says he's not letting his injuries get in the way of him getting active. Here's Oliver Wright.
I was in a car crash last September. I lost both my legs and got put into hospital, and then I wasn't really sure where life was going as a football player as well, and just out enjoying a night out with my mates.
Adam's life was changed forever after his accident last year. But now, the former goalkeeper has a new passion.
I never, ever liked sitting about doing nothing. And for 3 months, a solid 3 months of my life, I was literally sitting doing nothing. And that was probably the toughest time in my life as well. But yeah, I was always like itching at the bit to get out. When I got an opportunity to come skiing and try skiing out, I says it's a great opportunity for me to come try and see what I can do.
He's being supported by the team here at Huntly's Nordic Centre, and his new coach says he's making remarkable progress.
He only started in the spring having a go at this, and so from day one he just seemed to want to have as much time on the ski, and really worked well and worked hard to get better. And then he's been really competitive. He's had a couple of races over the summer. And yeah, I can't sort of fault him in terms of the amount of effort he's put in.
After the accident, the football fraternity from around the region were keen to support Adam, and they're delighted he's turning his love to a new sport.
Nothing seems to faze him. He just has this unbelievable outlook on life now. You know, his words were, well, what's happened's happened, I just need to move on. And for a kid at that age to overcome that and be so positive is just inspiring.
Adjusting to life-changing injuries would be an unimaginable task for anyone. But Adam's father, also called Adam, says skiing has allowed him to do just that.
And seeing the confidence now he's got, at that time he was starting to fall away after the accident. But seeing now the confidence he's got in his ability, it's been brilliant for him.
Adam's skiing journey is only just beginning. But there's every chance he could be representing his country on the world stage. Oliver Wright, STV News.
And he deserves every success. That's it for tonight. Good night.